The hardest part of these transformations of the snake is that shedding doesn't always feel so graceful, and it hasn't looked graceful in the US in the last few weeks since the inauguration. It's not looked graceful whatsoever, and within ourselves, sometimes it doesn't feel so good as well. It feels really destabilizing, disruptive to go through this level of sensitivity or pain and feel it on a collective level. If you're going through a level of spiritual awakening, it can feel really ungrounding to have all of these physical sensitivities and empathy open up for all of these people. It's a lot of heart opening that's happening. And it's also a lot of shedding of what's not supporting you, maybe habits, behaviors, relationships that are not supporting your well being. And so, even though we love them, we might be clinging to them, and it might not be supporting our health. Hey, you, welcome to Create to Liberate. I'm your host, Anissa. Today, we're going to be talking about the year of the snake and building intuitive guidance and also shedding what is not serving us in this year. This is 2025. It is numerology, the year 9, which is an ending of a cycle. It is in the Chinese Lunar New Year calendar, the year of the snake. It is a season of transformation, and I know so many people have been feeling that, and I am actually 1 year ahead of everyone. It's my personal 1 year numerology, and therefore I feel equipped to speak to those who are still ungrounded, struggling, needing to feel a foundation. And if you're in that camp, I definitely feel you as well. On a collective level, there's been so much upheaval. US politics, if you've been tuning in, gnarly at this time, and the change of presidency has created a lot of disruption for folks. And there's going to be further disruption in this year ahead, with it being a year 9, ending of big things, structures, capitalistic focus on hierarchy in the Capricorn sense, and then move into Aquarius and Pluto, and all these shifts into focusing back on the collective. And you, if you're tuning in, hopefully you're going to be a change maker in that collective consciousness rising, and people actually needing to support each other directly, because you can't other everyone. For today's video, I'll be getting into first introducing the year of the snake, which I kind of already did. Then we'll go into how to build a strong foundation during these times, embracing your journey through this disruption, then letting go, shedding what's not serving us, and then finally getting into building our personal power, our intuitive skills, and the strength aspects of the snake quality, which are so important and definitely stick around for. As always, I share wisdom, learnings, reflections from my own lived experience, as I believe we are all each other's mirrors. We provide a mirror to be able to see ourselves more clearly and hopefully empower each other. And if you enjoy this video, amazing. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe. If you're listening just on audio, a review is so welcome. It helps this podcast grow and reach more people, and it feels like a real podcast now that we have this old big mic. Firstly, year of the snake, what this means, why there might be this feeling of things are not working and there's a shedding. Well, this shedding came really quick. We're just recording now at the end of February, and it's been a lot of upheaval in the United States, a lot of rights being taken away from humans, a lot of systems being disrupted, the government in question in its democracy, foundations that were in place that were not supporting the truth of what the people's needs are, supporting our collective well-being, are going to be dismantled. And with that dismantling comes a lot of pain, comes a lot of immediate difficulty, and a lot of upheaval. And for those who are going through and feeling directly a lot of this disruption, I'm sending so much love to you and so much strength. And hopefully you're getting support, and your folks and communities and people are coming together to support you and meet some of your needs. There is so much unknown that's ahead, and that's what also this snake symbolizes, which is so important. I've mentioned in a previous video that at 2023 I went through a Kundalini awakening, and in that experience really was guided by snakes into my inner world, into the underworld, into the landscape that is within us all, our intuitive guidance to be able to really see myself and really gain access to my internal inner personal power, and was reminded of how powerful we are and how we are sold lies that power comes from all of the external things. It comes from money, comes from resources, comes from social capital, comes from all of these surrounding materialistic external things. And that's one form of power for sure, but it's not the most important one. The most important one resides within you. You're deeply powerful, and the snake is an embodiment of that. The snake is such a powerful creature and has been revered and also has been very feared. Snake represents the unknown, the divine feminine energy. It represents a lot of things, and you can look back at all these ancient cultures, thankfully, and not just hear from me, and see the way that the snake was highlighted in what contexts, and it can give you an indication as to what those civilizations and religions, etc., what they felt, what they feared, usually within themselves. So the snake is this beautiful shadow work quality, because anything that we fear deeply exists within us. It's a part of ourselves that we fear. There's a quality that's being amplified that we are fearful of. And so the more that we make peace with the snake and those shadowy stuff, the more that we can face those people, places, systems, structures that we're confronting, and not just demonize them and disregard them and see them as other, but be able to understand them, perceive them on a deeper level, therefore combat them. It's all psychological. And so I hope that in listening to this, it helps you feel more empowered at the end of the day. So this snake year, number 9, shedding, end of a cycle. I think it's most important to just know that you've been introduced into a world of what's visible, a world of what we can physically see in front of us, and that's been given too much power. There's the world of what's not physically seen. There's a world of energy, and the snake kind of represents that. It's one way that we get insight into the unseen realms and into our inner intuitive self. There can be a lot of changes made on that level. I think an excitement for me more specifically around people knowing their personal sovereignty and power and not putting their faith on system structures, people that are not going to support your well-being in the long term. Knowing that you are deeply powerful puts you in a state of grounding and steadiness to be able to choose from a place of love, to be able to make choices that are higher level, karmically supportive, that are going to help move money and resources and funds, external power away from entities that are not supporting the well-being of all. When it comes to firstly building the foundation within yourself, let's begin there. On my spiritual journey, I definitely felt so much upheaval, disruption, geographic moves, job change, relationship loss, and this deep feeling of aloneness. And that's the illusion of separateness, that we are not interconnected. So once we have that knowing that this period of growth is going to come with challenges, how can we get to a place of acceptance around it? How can we build practices that support us feeling grounded? Because we know that it's going to be chaotic. So meditation comes in as a huge practice to really focus on TM, more transcendental meditation, or more just mindfulness, noting where you are, noting how your body feels, things that are grounding. I shared a meditation on YouTube. Definitely check it out. 15-minute grounding meditation for those going through stressful times, which is many of us. Because I think it comes back to the simple practice of really tuning into our root chakra, saying I am safe, I'm grounded, and really supported, and knowing that on an internal level, even if the external world is not yet reflecting that reality. Building a foundation of support also means seeking community support systems, therapists, licensed professionals that can really support you on your healing journey. Also hearing from other people's personal stories and reflections to know that you're not alone through this time that's very destabilizing. Know that other people are going through similar things, whether it's a specific incident with a family, the upheaval, way policy changes are affecting you right now. Really tune into the stories of others so that you don't get into this doom state of, I am the only person going through this. There are so many people going through different cycles of suffering. And it's also beautiful to hear them share from the other side. So I've gone through personal cycles of suffering, definitely more on the spiritual front. And I'm now on the other side, and therefore happy to share what it feels like to feel more inner peace on a daily level and to feel more empowered to lean on my spirit guides, etc., to lean on the divine, or to lean on friends and family members and feel supported by people, and then also support them back. To feel more grounded, and finally, as foundational, have a vision as to what you want to be, who you want to feel like, what's on the other side, some glimmers of what qualities you need to cultivate to have peace of mind, to get through this time, to get through these periods of unrest, to get through this shakeup. Having a clearer vision of your future self might help you feel and have faith again that you can get to that person, to get to that more expanded version of self. And you might not have clarity on what that person looks like, what their job is, what they look like, where they live, things like of that specificity. But I knew for myself, I wanted to be a powerful person again. I wanted to feel expansive and expressive, even though I felt so shrunken inside and I felt so victim like. I wanted to know myself again as the powerful channel manifester that I had been previously, and it took a while to get back towards that state, and I'm still getting there. One of the best tools that supported me in this journey was building healing practices, spiritual modalities to connect me in conversation with ascended masters, etc. And for you, it might be supportive to find spiritual community. You might find it really supportive to focus on your emotional health and well-being. You might find it really supportive to tune into deeply nourishing friendships for yourself. There might be practices that help you feel more settled in the unknown, that are different from things that you used to historically do, but make you feel more connected to your intuition. So understanding what those are. The future you is looking out for you already. Your highest self is looking out for you, and trust that things that light you up, that bring you a sense of aliveness, that make you feel more connected within yourself and your being, are the things that you should be tuning into doing to feel that intuitive guidance. So I made our previous episode around dreams and the importance of dream journaling and analyzing our dreams. So that's a healing modality I recommend to anyone. I always emphasize morning pages and really doing some writing and journaling, and that might be where you do the analyzing of your dreams and symbolisms, themes that are supporting you, not supporting you. That might be the place that you pay a lot of attention to. It might be in you focusing on your meditation practice and really just feeling sensorially through your body what's coming through you, what needs to be experienced, seen, heard, acknowledged. What stories are we carrying? What limiting beliefs? What behaviors do we want to let go of? I think there's a beauty in just screaming to a pillow and just letting the raw emotions have a landing place, and then being able to emotionally regulate, obviously when we're publicly with people, but emotionally regulate and process. But sometimes there's a need to just focus on the somatic release, focus on the movement, shaking the body, really letting the tensions of this time move through us, let that energy be in motion. That's what emotion is, and really shaking it out, really screaming it out. When you can find those private spaces for you to feel yourself more fully, I think it's a blessing, and I think it's a rare opportunity. As an adult, kids get to be wild and express those things, but as an adult, we definitely want to treat each other with kindness and respect and create a level of safety for each other. And so if you can find private spaces where you can scream and shout and shake and all of those things, it's so deeply healing. Just ecstatic dancing has always been a somatic practice of mine, but the technical tools are so good when it comes to tapping. So much out there, so much to explore. So getting back to what tools and practices make you feel grounded and alive, and doubling down on those during the times of uncertainty. For myself, I've shared what those are, and for you personally, you'll explore and understand what those are for you, because it's unique for everyone. So in human design, I'm a projector, and I'm hugely a mental projector, and so it really helps for me to do practices of analyzing, writing, and getting distance from situations, while somebody is deeply in their power when they're reactive and emotionally what's coming from them is more of the truth. For me, that's not the case. Usually it helps me to take space and distance, and then I'll be more truthful. So for one of my friends, she asked me, how do I get spiritual grounding and guidance during this time? Anissa, what do you do? And then I said, what's your human design type? I just knew in that moment, and she's a splenic projector. So her guidance was actually to get strong in her body, to feel confident in her body, her physical body, get exercising, because her initial reactions to things, her actual impulse on things, is her truth, is her guidance. And so if she gets cerebral and does my practices of journaling and psychoanalyzing, then it's not going to help her in making decisions that are more aligned with her highest self, with her truth. So figure it out what it is for you, and then kind of figure out what those modalities are that further support you. So for me, I lean on so many contemplative things. It might not be the case for you. You might literally just need to go run around the block and scream into a pillow, and then you're having such a great day. But as I mentioned, human design or astrology or psychology, finding some level of theology that supports you. Maybe it is finding a faith practice. Maybe it's Buddhism. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's theosophical. There's so much out there, and I think having literature, having history, having culture, having something that reminds us that people have explored the things that we're personally experiencing before gives me some faith that we can get through these times, that periods of unrest and distress and ungrounding and shedding, though they're very tiring and taxing, others, civilizations, so many have gone through this as well. And so it's perspective giving, and by enriching our lives with the texts and the exploration and the studies of others, it's so enlivening, and it can be so empowering, and it can be, like I mentioned, grounding, which is what we need to trust that in releasing what is known, there'll be something that's birthed on the other side that is more truthful. So I want to get into the specifics of shedding. Oftentimes, when we're harboring negativity within us, there's a level of us not forgiving ourselves or forgiving others. So what is going to arise as a big opportunity for shedding is situations in which you needed to exhibit more forgiveness for yourself or for others. So pay attention to that. I have faced so many instances where I was still holding on to some judgment of things and the way things should have played out. And often I just have to go back and say, hey, hey, Anissa of the past, you didn't allow yourself to release this, but I give you permission now to forgive. Another thing that will be guided to release is attachments that are unhealthy. So attachments to material possessions, objects, attachments to relationships that are not so supporting us, attachments to work, attachments to behaviors and ways of functioning that are not supporting our well-being. This one came up for me so hugely. I was already such a minimalist, so the attachment to possession thing wasn't as strong. There were some moments of like, oh, I want to keep my things. And it's really not about the actual possessions. The truth is, it's about our attachment to them. So that attachment, it can be something that controls us. We don't want to maybe make a relocation and move because of all these personal items that we just love and have. Every single one has so many memories. It's not necessarily always, I just want all of my things, but there might be just a level of loss of identification with your personal self if you lose these things. And what does that mean? And just examining it might be the exercise rather than needing to release the physical things. And when it comes to attachment to people, are you loving from a really healthy, open, whole, liberated place? And that's one that I've been continuously working through as a healing codependent, in really loving people and not trying to possess them, not trying to help them, not trying to control, just really allow that love to flow to people, and those who want to receive it will receive it. And it's a liberating way to love, and it's not taught. So it's something that we learn through experiencing the other side of it, which is loving as control, loving as manipulation, and things that are not super healthy. And then we might be attached to limiting beliefs. We might have stories around the ways the world should work, the ways that people should operate, the way that we should be moving, where we should be in this life at this specific age that you are right now. And how much of that is a story? Most of the time, it's a huge story that we've grown attachment to. We've set milestones and markers for what success looks like to us. We've set goals. Goals are great, I thought. And then you get to a certain place in your life where you recognize that your goals should be rooted in how you feel. Does this make me feel more alive, more expansive, more liberated? Does this share more love with more people? Is this in the betterment of this planet and the ultimate collective? The answer to that is no. This is just self-serving. Serving who? Serving my ego. Oh, yeah. Let's release attachment to that, because what you're going to be on the other side of that is so much happier. It doesn't mean that you don't get to those goals that are nice to have. Like, I reach 1 million people on YouTube. Sure, that's cute, but I'm not going to be happier if I reach 1 million people on YouTube, if that's my sole purpose and goal. My why has to be so much bigger. Your why has to be purposeful, that is actually nourishing to your soul. So think about the times that you've had deep soul level connection with people, places, things. That's an internal feeling that you have inside, and you can recreate that. Rewiring and deconditioning a lot of the things that are not supporting us comes during this period of shedding. And last but not least, what you'll likely need to shed in this personal year, in this year 2025, what you'll likely need to shed is attachment to what's known. So one of the scariest things about the snake, as mentioned, is that it represents the unknown. It represents mystical inner world. It represents our feminine energy that resides within us. We all have masculine and feminine energy. I definitely have gone into this before, and I will continuously, because it's not emphasized enough. Our feminine energy can be regarded as our being energy versus masculine energy is our doing energy. So our feminine energy is about who we innately are, which is innately worthy, and the snake represents that. But since you've been conditioned probably into a society, all of these societies, where emphasis is placed on how much you do, then you might have disregarded who you innately are. You might have never believed that you were enough just by being born, that you have inherently within you so many amazing qualities, so much love to give, such an overflow. And if you knew that, you probably wouldn't be as incentivized to do all of the things that had been conditioned for us to keep doing. There's a welcoming to trusting the process. There's a welcoming to this season of expansion into the abyss and letting the picture be filled in as we take steps forward, rather than having the plan, having attachments the way we think things should work out, having control issues as to, well, then if this happens in this, and this happens in this, and allowing more flow is what's necessary. The snake just so effortlessly glides out of its dead skin. So how can we operate a little bit more like that when it comes to change? Trusting that the things that are releasing, either they're rejecting us, they're being pushed away from us, there's a lot of resistance in achieving them, there's a lot of disruption in holding them in our lives, maybe in their letting go, things will be better. Trusting that that'll be the case, that we'll feel healthier on the other side of things that are unhealthy and maybe not supporting us. I'm definitely on the camp of a person who thinks things are great, and not until they've fully exited my life am I able to see, whoa, that wasn't great. That was not the way. I'm glad that had to exit my life, because if I had a choice, if I could fully control everything in my life, I would leave way too much that was not supporting my well-being, and therefore wouldn't be where I am today. So in the immediate, in the short term, so much pain, so much disruption, so much unrest. And so how can we get grounded and come back to that? And that I'm speaking to is your authentic self, your full being self. You, who you are, is enough. In this year of snake and shedding and disruption and change, you always will come back to, wow, I guess I always had it within me. Kind of like Dorothy's finding there's no place like home. It's that, but within you. So when it comes to integration, embodiment, all the things that you wanted from the external world, you thought they would be a feeling attached to them on the other side of them. And that feeling you can have today within yourself. So how can you get to that a little bit more now rather than later? What things are blocking you from accessing the greatest, most expanded version of yourself? Like the Rumi quote, we do not seek love, we merely seek to find all our barriers to love. You're not seeking love, you're not seeking power. You have barriers currently that are holding you back from knowing that you are love, from knowing that you are deeply powerful. And all of that truth is wanting to bubble through you. So if you feel this disruption on an internal level, know that that's the truth. When you feel it on the external level, focus on the grounding. Constant cycles of change. And the better we get at embracing them, the more empowered we'll feel navigating them, and the more we'll look like the snake, just gracefully gliding through its old skin, becoming the new self. The less it'll feel like being slammed at a wall, which is what it felt like for me last year. Just exhaust. So I'm so grateful to be here with you. I think what really helps the shedding process is also tuning into all of the good that still remains even when things leave, right? In every single moment, there's shades, shades of dark, shades of light. Imagine it all gray. And we want to pretend that there's evil, it's completely dark and black, very dark shades of gray, but there's still light within that. And how can we use these moments of darkness to still look at the light? Pay attention also to the light. How does your body feel? Are you vital and healthy? Could you take a walk outside? Is the sun out there? Can you look at the sun? Can you take a deep breath? Can you send love to somebody that has been in your heart and on your mind? Can you take some more moments for gratitude before eating a meal? Can you focus on what good exists in your every single day in more moments? Because with that, you'll be filling up your cup with more love, more abundance that helps counterbalance the darkness that is inevitably there, the darker shades. That is life. But how can you also fill up on the goodness, on fueling yourself with the love that is within you, sharing that out because people need you. You are so needed in this world as a not perfect human. So we are beautifully mirrors to each other in our imperfection and also in our divinity. I'm sending you so much love in this year ahead, and I know it's chaotic, but definitely adding some diversity to the human experience, that's for sure. I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, and if you're listening on audio, your review is so appreciated. Much love.